Every dream you abandoned is still waiting for your return, like a part of your soul whispering, "Don't forget me." The unlived life never dies. What you suppress doesn't disappear. It hides in your shadow, waiting for your courage to return. Every part of you that you've silenced, every dream you've denied, every emotion you've buried beneath logic and duty, none of it is gone. It lives in the hidden corners of your being, shaping your choices in ways you barely understand. You may forget it for a while, you may even convince yourself you've outgrown it, but the truth is that nothing inside you ever truly dies until it is lived. We like to think we can simply move on from the things that once mattered, as though passion can be neatly archived like an old photograph. But life doesn't work that way. The unlived life lingers. It lives in your tone when you speak, in your tiredness when you wake up, in the silent ache you feel when you see someone else doing what you once dreamed of doing. The parts of you you've pushed into darkness don't vanish. They wait. They wait for the moment you stop pretending, for the moment you grow brave enough to face what you've denied. Every time you say, "That's not possible anymore," or "It's too late for me," you push another fragment of your truth deeper into the shadows. But those fragments are not gone, they become the invisible weight you carry. They show up as frustration you can't explain, as sadness that doesn't match your circumstances, as a restlessness that no achievement can quiet. Because what you suppress demands to be seen, and if you won't meet it consciously, it will meet you through discomfort, through anxiety, through the slow suffocation of unlived potential. The shadow is not a monster. It's the storage room of your unlived life. Inside it are the dreams you once believed in, the feelings you weren't allowed to express, the talents you didn't dare to explore. You might have hidden them because someone told you they were foolish. You might have abandoned them to fit into a version of life that looked respectable, but no matter how deep you bury them, they continue to breathe. They will whisper through your instincts, your daydreams, your longing. They will keep calling until you turn around and listen. When you feel envy towards someone, it's often your shadow speaking. It's the part of you that says, "That could have been me." The jealousy isn't about them. It's about your unlived self trying to awaken. Every time you admire someone's courage, their creativity, their authenticity, it's your hidden potential recognizing its own reflection. The things that move you most deeply are not random. They are mirrors showing you what you've lost sight of. To live only half of yourself is to walk through life asleep. You might function, you might achieve, but somewhere inside, you know you're incomplete. The unlived life doesn't stop knocking because you ignore it. It grows louder the longer it's denied. You'll hear it in the quiet moments, when the world falls silent and you can no longer distract yourself. That emptiness you sometimes feel, the one that no success or relationship can fill, is not a flaw in you. It's the echo of your forgotten self. You were born with a natural blueprint of desires, gifts, and emotions that make you who you are. When you suppress them, you fracture that design. You live out of alignment, performing a version of life that looks stable but feels hollow. You become a stranger to your own soul. The unlived life waits patiently for you to notice. It does not rush, but it does not fade either. It stays behind every choice you didn't make, every chance you didn't take, every maybe someday that never came. And it doesn't just sit quietly. It seeps into your thoughts, shaping the stories you tell yourself. You may say you're tired, but often what you're really tired of is pretending. Pretending that you don't care anymore. Pretending that this life you settled for is enough. Deep down, you know there was more meant for you. Not necessarily grander or richer, but truer. and truth, when ignored, becomes pain. Sometimes the unlived life returns in strange ways. A hobby you suddenly miss, a childhood memory that stirs emotion, a sudden desire to change everything. These are not coincidences, they are awakenings. Life keeps offering you small windows to return to what you've buried. The question is, will you walk through them, or will you close them again out of fear? Fear is the gatekeeper of the unlived life. It tells you it's too risky, too late, too unrealistic. But fear isn't there to stop you. It's there to test your readiness. It asks, how much do you want to live fully? And only when you move through that fear does the shadow begin to transform into power. Because everything you've suppressed contains energy. Once integrated, that energy becomes your strength, your creativity, your authenticity. The shadow doesn't want to destroy you, it wants to complete you. It's holding the keys to your wholeness. But to retrieve them, you must be willing to face what you ran from. The anger, the grief, the dreams that scared you because they demanded vulnerability. You must stand in front of the parts of you that were rejected by others and say, I see you. You still belong. Only then does the unlived life begin to merge with the one you're living. The unlived life is the invisible author behind your dissatisfaction. You can build a career, a family, a reputation. But if you never give life to what your soul intended, something inside you will always feel unfinished. That ache is not punishment, it's a message. It's saying, you came here to become whole, not to perform a role. Every suppressed dream carries a piece of that wholeness. Every denied feeling contains wisdom. Every abandoned path still leads home if you have the courage to walk it again. The unlived life is patient but persistent. It will keep surfacing through longing, through intuition, through the things that make your heart ache in beauty or regret. It will not vanish because it is you. The unexpressed you, the silent you, the version that still waits behind your practiced smile. The shadow you fear is not darkness, it's light that has been exiled, waiting for your courage to return and bring it back into the world. Your soul remembers what you forgot. The passions, callings, and childhood visions you left behind are not gone. They're buried alive within you. The world might have convinced you to move on, to grow up, to become realistic, but the soul does not follow those rules. It remembers everything. It remembers the spark in your eyes when you first discovered what made you feel alive. It remembers the feeling of possibility before fear and judgment clouded your heart. It remembers who you were before you learned to wear masks just to be accepted. Even when your mind forgets, your soul keeps a quiet record of every truth you've ever silenced. You can try to outgrow your original dreams, but your soul will always carry their fingerprints. The passions you once had don't die just because you stopped feeding them. They sink deeper, waiting for warmth, for breath, for attention. That's why sometimes when life gets quiet, you feel that strange nostalgia, not just for the past, but for the version of yourself that once felt limitless. It's your soul whispering, you still belong to that dream. There are things we abandon not because they lose meaning, but because the world teaches us to trade authenticity for safety. When you were a child, you didn't ask whether your imagination was practical. You painted galaxies on paper, built kingdoms from air, and believed that life was wide enough to hold everything you loved. Then slowly, voices began to surround you. Voices of reason, voices of fear, voices that told you to stay small. You began to shrink to fit into boxes that didn't belong to you. But the soul does not shrink. It expands endlessly, even when you don't. That's why the more you deny what's inside you, the heavier life feels. Your soul carries memories that your mind can't rationalize. Every time you walked away from something that mattered, It held that piece of you like a sacred promise, waiting for your return. You may think you've forgotten how to write, to sing, to dream, to feel deeply. But the moment you try again, the knowing comes rushing back, because you never lost it. It was never gone. It was just sleeping beneath layers of survival. Sometimes when people say they feel empty, what they really mean is that they've been away from themselves for too long. They've lived years fulfilling expectations, meeting responsibilities, wearing smiles that don't match what they feel inside. They've achieved what they thought they should, but not what they were meant to, and in that quiet gap between success and fulfillment, the soul begins to stir. It reminds them, through sadness, through longing, through flashes of memory, that something essential has been left behind. The soul does not speak in words, it speaks in sensations. It shows you glimpses of what once brought you peace. It moves you when you hear a certain song or smell something from your childhood. It's the pull you feel toward things that make no logical sense, but awaken something real in you. That pull is your compass. It's the map back to what you forgot. You don't need to understand it, you only need to follow it. When you were young, you had moments when you felt completely connected to nature, to music, to the rhythm of life itself. You didn't question your worth. You didn't measure your dreams against others. You simply followed what called you. That was your soul's way of showing you who you were meant to become. Over time, the noise of the world grew louder. You learned to doubt yourself, to compete, to hide the things that made you different. You built a life that looked right, but didn't feel right. And now, even if you can't explain why, you feel the quiet ache of misalignment, because your soul still remembers the path you were supposed to walk. You can change your appearance, your career, your surroundings, but you cannot outrun the memory of your essence. The passions you buried alive still breathe beneath the surface. They might show up as restlessness, as a yearning you can't name. You might call it boredom or burnout, but it's really your inner voice saying, "This isn't what we came here for." And until you listen, the discomfort will keep returning, growing stronger, because your soul refuses to be forgotten. Sometimes, life will orchestrate events to awaken what you've buried. A sudden encounter, a random opportunity, a painful loss, all of it can be the soul's way of shaking you awake. The very things that break your comfort often open the door to what's real. Pain isn't always punishment, it's sometimes the soul's last resort to remind you of your purpose. It strips away illusions until only truth remains. You might think your childhood dreams were naive. But what if they weren't childish? What if they were sacred instructions from your deeper self? The child you once were wasn't foolish, they were pure. They saw the world through eyes unclouded by fear. Their dreams weren't random. They were glimpses of the life your soul intended for you. You didn't imagine them, you remembered them. And even now, those visions wait beneath your doubts, ready to rise again if you let them. When you reconnect with what you forgot, it doesn't mean you have to become who you were. It means integrating who you were with who you are now. The adult you has the strength, wisdom, and perspective that the child didn't. But the child still holds the wonder, courage, and creativity that the adult lost. When both parts meet, you become whole. The soul doesn't want you to regress. It wants you to remember. Every time you feel drawn to something without knowing why, that's the memory of your forgotten self trying to reach you. Every time you feel a spark of inspiration that you quickly dismiss, that's your soul reminding you that it's still here, alive, waiting. You don't need to chase meaning outside yourself. It's already woven into your being. You only need to uncover it, to remove the layers of fear and conformity that buried it. Your soul keeps everything you've ever loved, every dream you ever touch, every version of you that once felt alive. It doesn't forget. It doesn't judge you for forgetting. It simply waits for you to remember that the life you seek isn't somewhere out there. It's inside you, beneath the noise, in the place where your truest memories still glow, untouched by time. Repression creates restlessness. When you deny your true self, life starts to feel dull, mechanical, and heavy, no matter how successful you appear. You can build a life that looks perfect from the outside. A stable job, a good reputation, the approval of others. But if it's not aligned with who you truly are, it will slowly begin to suffocate you. You might not even notice it at first. It begins subtly, like a quiet hum of dissatisfaction in the background of your days. But over time, that hum grows louder, turning into an ache, a sense that something essential is missing, even though you've done everything right. That ache is the price of repression, the cost of betraying your own nature for the sake of acceptance, comfort, or control. When you silence your emotions, hide your desires, or pretend to be someone you're not, you split yourself in two. There's the version of you that the world sees, polished, functional, well-adjusted, and the version of you that remains hidden, yearning to breathe. The longer you suppress that hidden self, the more restless your spirit becomes. Because authenticity is not optional, it's the soul's oxygen. You can hold your breath for a while, but eventually your being demands to exhale. The restlessness that creeps into your life is not a flaw. It's a signal, a warning that you are living against your own current. You may call it stress, boredom, or fatigue, but what you're really feeling is the tension between who you are and who you're pretending to be. It's the weight of unspoken words, of feelings swallowed, of choices made to please others instead of yourself. Every time you say yes when you mean no, a small piece of your vitality drains away. Every time you dim your light to avoid judgment, a layer of heaviness settles on your heart. You become efficient but empty, alive but not awake. Repression is seductive because it promises peace. It tells you that if you hide your truth, you'll avoid conflict, rejection, and pain. But the peace it offers is counterfeit. It's the silence of imprisonment, not the calm of freedom. The emotions you suppress don't vanish, they go underground, turning into anxiety, irritability, or numbness. You can only push them down for so long before they begin to leak through cracks in your composure. You may find yourself snapping at small things, feeling inexplicable sadness, or craving distractions that help you forget. These are not signs of weakness. They are the soul's protest against being silenced. A repressed life is a divided life. You might function well, even achieve impressive things, but underneath it all, there's a quiet war between the mask you wear and the truth you avoid. You tell yourself you're doing what's necessary, for your career, for your family, for stability. But deep down, you know you're sacrificing something sacred. You can't feel alive while betraying yourself. You can survive that way, yes, but survival is not the same as living. Restlessness grows in proportion to how deeply you deny your own truth. The more you try to suppress, the louder the inner voice becomes. It speaks in sleepless nights, in daydreams about escape, in sudden waves of sadness that seem to have no reason. You may try to drown it with work, entertainment, or routine, but it always returns. Because repression is not an erasure, it's a postponement. Everything you push away waits patiently in the dark until you have the courage to face it. Society often rewards repression. It calls it discipline, composure, professionalism. You're praised for keeping it together, for not making a scene, for doing what's expected. But inside, you pay the price in silence. You start to lose touch with your instincts, your creativity, your capacity for joy. You live in your head, disconnected from your body, from your emotions, from the rawness that once made you feel vividly human. The more you conform, the less you remember how to feel. And when feeling dies, meaning fades with it. The tragedy of repression is that it hides not only your pain, but also your brilliance. The same walls you build to contain your darkness also keep out your light. When you suppress your anger, you also bury your passion. When you numb your sadness, you dull your capacity for joy. When you silence your truth, you muffle your voice, the very instrument through which your purpose speaks. Repression doesn't just cost you peace, it costs you your wholeness. Every unexpressed truth becomes a ghost inside you, haunting your peace and your purpose. You might not see it, but it moves your choices like an unseen hand. It can make you sabotage what you love or cling to what no longer serves you. It can make you restless even in comfort, lost even when everything seems in order. That restlessness is sacred. It's the soul refusing to die quietly. It's the reminder that no matter how much you conform, there is still something wild, authentic, and untamed inside you that remembers freedom. When you repress your true self, life loses color. Days blend into each other. Even moments of success feel hollow because they don't feed the part of you that truly hungers. You start living for appearances, for the validation of others, for the illusion of control. While your inner world starves, the world may call you accomplished, but you know you're only half alive. You can sense this disconnection in the small details. The hobbies you once loved no longer bring joy. The laughter that once felt real now sounds rehearsed. You look around and wonder why the things that should make you happy don't. That's the cost of repression, the slow erosion of vitality. You've built walls for protection, but they've become your cage. The body keeps score of what the mind denies. The fatigue, the tightness in your chest, the constant restlessness, they're all ways your body tries to tell you that something is off. It's not just mental or emotional. Repression seeps into your cells. When you stifle truth, energy stops flowing. And when energy stops flowing, life feels stagnant, heavy, and joyless. The paradox is that we repress ourselves to avoid pain, yet repression itself becomes the source of our deepest pain. The freedom you long for isn't found in perfection or in keeping everything under control. It's found in allowing yourself to be seen as you are. Imperfect, emotional, real. The soul doesn't seek comfort, it seeks truth. And until that truth is lived, restlessness will always follow you like a shadow, not to punish you, but to guide you back to the parts of yourself you abandoned. Integration is healing. The parts of you you've ignored are not your enemies, they're fragments of your truth, asking to be included. Every emotion you've suppressed, every impulse you've denied, every version of yourself you've tried to outgrow, they're not mistakes. They're pieces of a larger whole that have been waiting for your acceptance. You've been taught to divide yourself, to keep the good parts visible and hide the bad ones, to show strength and conceal vulnerability, to appear kind while burying your anger, to smile through pain and pretend that being fine is the same as being whole. But the soul doesn't seek perfection. It seeks completion. It doesn't want you to shine without shadow. It wants you to embrace both so that you can finally live as one. The process of healing is not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering the self you exiled when you thought you had to earn love by being less of who you are. The child in you who felt too much, the teenager who rebelled, the adult who failed. They're all waiting at the edges of your awareness, hoping to be seen again. You may think healing means fixing what's broken, but what if nothing was ever broken? What if all that's needed is reunion? A gentle returning of every part of you that was once rejected. You've spent years building a version of yourself that could survive. You've learned to be composed, rational, productive, but beneath that mask lies the rawness you locked away, the tears you never cried, the rage you never voiced, the dreams you never followed. Those hidden aspects aren't trying to ruin you, they're trying to reach you. They want your acknowledgement. Because every time you deny them, you deny your own life force. Suppression might make you appear stable, but it leaves you hollow inside. You can't feel fully alive when you're constantly guarding against your own truth. Integration is the act of turning toward what you once turned away from. It's looking at your sadness and saying, "You belong here." It's holding your fear without trying to erase it. It's recognizing that the parts you label dark are not evil, they're unexpressed life. Your anger is the voice of your boundaries. Your grief is the proof of your capacity to love. Your shame carries the story of where you learned to hide. To integrate is to listen, to become curious about why these feelings exist instead of condemning them. You can't heal what you continue to exile. Every emotion you refuse to face becomes a ghost that haunts your present. You can feel it when you overreact to small things, when you attract the same patterns again and again, when you feel empty even in moments of peace. That's the unintegrated self speaking. It doesn't want to disappear. It wants to be heard. Healing begins not when the pain stops, but when you stop running from it. The very thing you're avoiding often holds the medicine you need most. For years, you may have believed that your flaws were obstacles to your growth, but those flaws are also doors. Behind each one is a part of you that developed as protection, a defense mechanism that once kept you safe. Your perfectionism may have shielded you from rejection. Your anger may have defended your innocence. Your numbness may have helped you survive what was too painful to feel. These parts were not mistakes. They were survival strategies. They deserve gratitude before they can evolve. When you meet them with compassion instead of shame, they soften. They no longer need to fight for control because they finally feel seen. Integration doesn't mean letting chaos take over. It means befriending the chaos so it no longer controls you. When you stop resisting what's inside, energy that was trapped in repression begins to flow again. That's why people often feel lighter, freer, even more creative after confronting their pain. The energy that once maintained the mask becomes available for living. The fragmented self begins to remember its wholeness. You are not just the calm voice that speaks wisely, you are also the trembling voice that's afraid to speak at all. You are not just your strength, you are also your tenderness. You are not just light, you are shadow too, and both are sacred. The world often tells you to reject your shadow, to think positive, to stay high vibe. But denial is not transformation, it's decoration over decay. Real healing is raw, messy, and profoundly honest. It asks you to enter the dark and hold a lantern instead of slamming the door shut. Think of yourself as a constellation. Each star is a different aspect of you. Some bright, some dim, some nearly forgotten. Integration means connecting those stars until they form a picture that makes sense. Without the dark sky, the stars themselves couldn't be seen. That's how your inner world works too. Your darkness gives your light its meaning. Without it, your growth would be hollow, all shine and no substance. When you begin to integrate, life starts to change subtly but deeply. You stop being at war with yourself. You no longer need to project your hidden feelings onto others because you've made peace with them inside. You stop chasing external validation because you've learned to validate your own complexity. You begin to act from authenticity rather than reaction. Decisions become clearer because they're no longer distorted by inner conflict. You start to move through the world, not as fragments trying to be enough, but as a whole being who already is. The truth is, healing doesn't erase your scars. It teaches you how to see beauty in them. It helps you recognize that your pain shaped your depth, your mistakes sharpened your wisdom, your failures built your compassion. Integration doesn't ask you to forget what happened. It asks you to weave it into your story with love. The experiences you once thought disqualified you from peace actually become the foundation of your peace once they're accepted. There will always be parts of you that feel hard to face: anger, jealousy, insecurity, grief. But those emotions are simply energy waiting to be understood. They soften when met with attention. They evolve when met with care. Integration is a lifelong conversation between every voice within you. The strong one, the scared one, the silent one, the hopeful one. You don't need to silence any of them. You just need to listen long enough for them to stop screaming. When you begin to honor every part of yourself, not just the lovable or successful ones, you create an inner harmony that no external approval can match. The noise quiets. The restlessness eases. The masks begin to fall away, not because you've forced them to, but because they're no longer needed. You become what you were always meant to be. Not perfect, not pure, but whole. The voice of longing is guidance. That quiet ache you feel isn't weakness. It's your unlived potential calling you home. It's not something to be silenced or fixed. It's something to be listened to. That ache that stirs when life feels too small, when routine feels suffocating, when success feels strangely empty. It's the whisper of the life you were meant to live, but haven't yet dared to claim. You can ignore it for a while, distract yourself with work, noise, or endless obligations, but it always returns, because longing doesn't come to torment you. It comes to remind you. It's your inner compass pointing toward what's missing, not in the world, but within you. Most people mistake longing for lack. They think it means something is wrong with them, that they're ungrateful, that they should just be content. But contentment and truth are not the same thing. You can be thankful for what you have and still yearn for what's meant for you. That ache in your chest is not a sign of greed or discontent. It's the soul's way of saying, there's more. It doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're still alive enough to feel what's possible. The voice of longing begins quietly. It speaks through moments of stillness, through dreams that catch you off guard, through flashes of emotion that seem to come from nowhere. It can sound like nostalgia for something you've never actually lived, or like a memory from a future that hasn't yet arrived. You might feel it when you see someone else doing what you love, when a song makes your heart ache, when a landscape awakens something ancient in you. That feeling is not random. It's recognition. Your soul recognizing the direction it's meant to move in. We live in a world that teaches us to distrust longing. We're told to suppress it with logic, to settle for what's reasonable, to be proud of stability. But stability can become a cage if it's built on denial. You can build a life so secure that nothing moves, not even your spirit. That's when longing becomes unbearable, because it's the only thing left inside you that still moves, still stirs, still believes in possibility. The voice of longing is your inner rebellion against the deadness of conformity. It refuses to let you forget that you were made for more than comfort. Longing isn't a flaw, it's a compass. It guides you toward the unlived parts of yourself, the passions you've shelved, the truths you've muted, the versions of you that never had a chance to exist. When you feel that quiet ache, it's your unlived potential saying, I'm still here, don't give up on me. You can numb it temporarily with distraction or productivity, but it will find new ways to speak. It might turn into restlessness, fatigue, or even depression. Not because you're broken, but because the energy of your potential is trapped inside you with nowhere to go. To listen to longing is to honor your inner life. It's to stop pretending that you're satisfied when you're not. It's to admit that something deeper is asking for expression. That can be terrifying, because longing often asks you to change, to risk, to let go of the life that's comfortable but not true. It invites you into the unknown, where you don't have guarantees, only instinct. But that instinct is sacred. It's how the soul speaks when words aren't enough. You may have learned to distrust that voice because it doesn't speak the language of logic. It speaks in emotion, in intuition, in subtle pulls that can't be rationalized. But every major transformation begins with a whisper like that. The feeling that something inside you wants to expand, even if you can't explain why. You don't need to understand it, you just need to honor it. The path unfolds as you walk it, not before. The H of longing is not punishment, it's invitation. It's life trying to move through you in a new way. It's your creative energy knocking from the inside, saying, "Let me out." Every time you ignore it, that energy stagnates. It turns into frustration or numbness because it was meant to move. You were not designed to suppress your evolution. You were designed to grow into it. Longing is the first sign that the next chapter of your becoming is ready to begin. When you follow longing, it doesn't mean you abandon what you have. It means you bring more truth into it. It might lead you to write, to travel, to speak, to rebuild your life in a way that reflects who you really are. It might ask you to leave situations that no longer match your growth. It might guide you back to something you once loved, but forgot how to hold. Whatever form it takes, it always leads you closer to authenticity. There's a tenderness in longing that should never be shamed. It reveals the heart's depth, the soul's capacity to imagine beyond the visible. Only those who have dulled their inner life completely can live without longing. And that's not peace, it's numbness. Longing is proof that something in you still believes in possibility, still remembers joy, still feels the call of creation. It's not there to remind you of what you lack. It's there to remind you of what still lives within you. Think of longing as a bridge between who you are and who you could become. It stretches across the gap between the known and the possible. You can stand on the edge and ache forever, or you can start walking across. Every small step you take toward what feels true quiets the ache a little, because the soul finally feels seen. The goal isn't to reach a destination, it's to live in alignment with the voice that calls you. If you listen closely, longing doesn't say, "Leave everything." It says, "Come home." Home not as a place, but as a state of being. A return to what's real. It asks you to reclaim your sensitivity, your curiosity, your wonder. It asks you to live with aliveness instead of autopilot. That quiet ache is not against you, it's for you. It's the map back to your own soul. The next time you feel that tug in your chest, that unshakable sense that something more is waiting, don't rush to silence it. Sit with it. Let it speak. Ask it what it wants to show you. The answer might not come in words, but in feelings, images, or small urges. Follow them gently. The voice of longing never shouts, it whispers. But those whispers, if followed, can lead you back to everything you were meant to become. You don't need a new life. You need to reclaim the one you left behind. Wholeness isn't about starting over, it's about awakening what's already inside you. The truth is, most people aren't missing a better life. They're missing themselves. Somewhere along the way, you began trading authenticity for approval, intuition for logic, passion for practicality. You started living in fragments, choosing only the parts of yourself that the world would accept, but those other parts, The wild, creative, curious, soulful ones didn't die. They went underground, waiting for you to remember them. You don't need to destroy your life to feel alive again. You don't need to run away, move cities, or reinvent your identity. What you truly need is to return, not backward, but inward. To go back to the moments where you began to silence your truth. To find the pieces of yourself you left scattered across time, buried beneath responsibility, expectations, and survival. Every time you said, "This part of me doesn't belong," you exiled something sacred. And healing isn't about building a new life on top of that. It's about going back to gather what was lost. The modern world teaches you to chase transformation as if it's a destination, as if happiness is somewhere, there, in a better version of yourself. But the deeper work isn't about becoming someone new, it's about remembering who you already are. The life you long for isn't waiting in the future, it's hidden beneath the noise of everything you've become to survive. When you stop chasing newness and start reclaiming depth, you begin to feel whole again. Think about who you were before the world told you who to be. That child who followed curiosity without fear, who created without seeking permission, who loved without calculation. That self is still alive inside you. You don't outgrow your essence, you only forget it. The spark you once had isn't gone, it's just covered by layers of protection and adaptation. You don't need to rebuild it. You need to uncover it. Because what you're searching for is not a different life, but a more truthful one. There's a reason why success often feels hollow, why even when everything looks right on paper, something still feels missing. It's because you can't be fulfilled by achievements that come at the cost of your own essence. You can win by every external measure and still feel a quiet emptiness that whispers, "This isn't it." That whisper isn't ungratefulness, it's truth. It's the reminder that fulfillment doesn't come from upgrading your circumstances, it comes from aligning with your soul. When you feel lost, the instinct is to start over, to burn everything down and create a brand new path. But what if what you're really craving isn't a restart, but a reconnection? You don't need to escape your life, you need to infuse it with the parts of you that went missing. The creativity you once had, the dreams you silenced, the emotions you stopped expressing. They're the missing colors in your existence. Without them, life turns gray no matter how bright it looks from the outside. Reclaiming your unlived life begins with remembering. Remember the moments when you felt most alive, not just happy, but deeply present. Maybe it was when you were painting, dancing, writing, or exploring nature. Maybe it was when you spoke your truth fearlessly, before you learned it was safer to stay quiet. Those memories are not nostalgia. They are breadcrumbs leading you back to your wholeness. What once lit you up still holds power, not because the past was better, but because it revealed who you really are. You've been taught to measure your worth by progress, by how far you've come or how much you've achieved. But the soul doesn't evolve through addition, it evolves through integration. Every part of you, even the broken, forgotten, or shadowed ones, belongs to the story of who you are. You don't need to reject your past, you need to reconcile with it. The wounds you try to escape are often the doorways back to your truth. Every suppressed emotion, every ignored dream, carries energy. And that energy doesn't disappear just because you've moved on. It waits, it lingers. It whispers through your restlessness, through your exhaustion, through your longing. Reclaiming your life means facing what you abandoned, not with judgment, but with compassion. It means forgiving the versions of you that had to hide, that had to shrink, that had to pretend. It means saying, "You did what you had to do to survive, but now we can live." You can't heal by erasing your past. You heal by embracing the wholeness of your experience. Because every version of you was trying to protect something sacred, your aliveness, and now it's time to let that aliveness breathe again. You don't need a new purpose. You need to remember the one that's been quietly calling all along. The moments when you felt joy without reason, when time disappeared, when you felt aligned with something larger. That's your soul's language. It doesn't shout. It hums beneath the noise, waiting for your attention. Every time you pause long enough to listen, life starts to realign itself around what's real. Reclaiming doesn't mean you go back to who you were. It means you integrate who you've become with who you were always meant to be. It's not regression. It's resurrection. It's awakening the dormant parts of your being that still hold your light. You don't need to chase another version of yourself. You need to make peace with the one that's already here, waiting to be seen. When you stop running from yourself, the world around you starts to feel different. What once felt meaningless begins to glow again. Ordinary moments become sacred because you're finally present in them. The relationships that drained you lose their power because you no longer seek validation from what doesn't see you. You begin to choose from wholeness instead of fear. And that shift changes everything, not by adding more, but by becoming more real. You don't need to reinvent your story to feel alive. You need to reclaim the chapters you skipped, the pages you tore out, the words you were too afraid to write. They're still yours. Life is not asking you to begin again. It's asking you to continue what you started before you forgot who you were. Wholeness isn't a new identity. It's the reunion of everything you once were, everything you are, and everything you're still becoming